I'd like to invite Amy Thomas from the Refugee Action Coalition to speak to us. Amy's a long-term refugee activist. Let's make her welcome.
Thank you very much, everyone, and I appreciate everyone showing up today. We've run out of placards, which doesn't usually happen, but it's a testament to how many people were expecting and how many people did make the effort, to show up today when at this time of year many of us have, things on our calendars and so on. I think one of the things that is just so disgraceful about what is happening to Faisal and what will happen tomorrow in court is that many refugees, many asylum seekers who make their claim have their initial claim rejected. A lot of them, and it has been proven as well that several of the people that make those claims, the Immigration Department assessors, make biased decisions. That has been proven about certain people in the past, and a large majority of people actually take their claim to the courts, and 90% of people, and that statistic has been higher in the past, are proven to be refugees after that point. So if they make a decision in the court tomorrow to deport Faisal, they will be making a decision to deport someone who has a 9 out of 10 chance of their claim being successful in the courts. That is what they are doing tomorrow. They are making a decision to send a man back to a situation where his family has been attacked, to send him back there, knowing that full well and knowing that his claim, like the vast majority of people, would actually be proven by a much fairer system in the courts, much fairer than the initial assessments by the Immigration Department anyway. I think another one of the things about the story, about Faisal's story that really strikes you is that so much of the situation that he is fleeing from in Iraq is a situation which was created by the very same people who sit today in Australian Parliament. Tony Abbott, Scott Morrison, Christopher Pyne, the champions of the war in Iraq. The people who sent the bombs, the people who sent the planes, the people who stoked the sectarian violence in Iraq, the people who said that Sunni and Shia should line up against each other. They are the ones who sit there in Parliament, and they are the ones who are behind this attempt to deport Faisal. Let's not forget that. They are the ones who make these decisions. They are the ones who pass these laws. They are the ones who do absolutely everything, all the way they can, to create every possible obstacle to somebody claiming asylum in this country. They are the reasons, really, that Faisal had to leave his country, a big part of the reason. And they have the gall to say, we went to Iraq to fight for democracy. Someone comes here fleeing that situation and they say, no, you're not welcome. We're going to screw you over every single step of the way and make your life miserable, and then we'll attempt to deport you for a second time. Let's not forget that this is the second time that Faisal has been through this. I sat there anxious, waiting, not knowing what is going to happen to him. In this kind of situation, it's torture. That is what Scott Morrison, that is what Tony Abbott, that is what the Immigration Department officials, that is what Serco and the men who muscle him onto the plane if that happens, that is what they are responsible for. But one thing I think that we need to understand is that however much the refugee policy might seem so cruel and so degrading and so inhumane, is that at every point there is always resistance to this. At every point as well there are also little victories. We have stopped deportations. They have done everything they can, this department, to speed up deportations over the last several years. But through a process of legal challenges and attention, all these sorts of things, community campaigning, there are many people I know who are on that list who were scheduled for deportation, who now live beside us in the community, who are making lives for themselves and their families, who are going to university, who are doing what they want to do with their lives, free from the harassment of the Immigration Department, free essentially, doing what they want to do. And we aim to create a situation where Faisal is that person, where a few months down the track he's living out in the community with us. That is what we're here to do today, and hopefully we achieve it. Because I think we know it is extremely likely that if Faisal was able to go through the process, as I explained before, that he's very, very likely to be granted his refugee status. What do we know if he's deported? What do we think might happen to him? Well, we know that of the people that were deported in the Howard years, we know of the people who went to Afghanistan that 9 people were killed. The Edmund Rice Centre, has done a whole report called Deported to Danger about that. And actually that's just the people we know about. There are so many people who face deportation and we don't know where they are. We don't know what happened to them. The ones we've been able to track down, the stories are not stories that you'd like to hear. We know that several of the people who have been screened out, Sri Lankan asylum seekers, that the Immigration Department has refused completely to even hear their claims. They sent them back via plane. We know that some of those people have ended up in the disgraceful prisons of Mahinda Rajapaksa. People who didn't even have the chance to have their claims heard. We know these things. These are the things that happen to people who are deported. These are the kind of things that can happen to Faisal. So I think it's very, very important that we're here today, and it's very important that we're sending this message and doing everything we can. But I think we should know that even if they get away with this, they are not, because we are here today, because there is a movement if there is a tension on this case because we may be on SBS News tonight and whatever else, that means that this situation and this injustice has not gone by unremarked. That when that lawyer sits in court tomorrow, those immigration department lawyers, and make their disgraceful arguments, they know that there's something immoral about what they're doing. That if that judge makes a decision, makes the wrong decision tomorrow, he'll do so knowing that there's people who think that he is stumped for doing that. They will know that there are people who are watching, there are people who are prepared to protest, and there are people who are going to continue to build a movement to stop this happening altogether, to Faisal and to anyone else. So, before I finish, I just want to start a chant. Hey Morrison, hear us say, let them land, let them say.
Hey Morrison, hear us say, let them land, let them stay.
Hey Morrison, hear us say,
Let them land, let them stay.
hey Morrison, hear us say.
Let them land, let them stay. Let them land, let them stay.
Hear us say.
Let them land, let them stay.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Amy. I just want to quickly read a message which Faisal's wife sent him just as recently as October. What she said was, please don't come back. Please don't come back, they'll kill you. You'll be seen as a traitor and executed. They'll take you away and no one will see you again. All the men being returned are being executed because you wouldn't fight for the Sunnis. I beg you to stay away. It's better than me knowing that you are dead. That tragic message came from Faisal's wife to him in Australia just in October this year, and it highlights the fact that what has driven Faisal here, what's driven his wife into exile in Iraq, is the fact that he doesn't want to get caught up in the vicious sectarian violence that is now reaching a new peak in Iraq. There are reports in the last couple of months of executions of Sunnis, old people, young people, mown down in their houses and strung up outside to be paraded to everybody to see. And in certain regions of Iraq and in Baghdad, it's certainly the Sunnis who are subject to particularly violent attacks. Our government claims to stand on the side of peace, claims to stand on the side of a reasonable world order, claims to support people who want to just go about their business and live their lives. Their intention, their desperation to deport Faisal back to Iraq gives the lie to that very clearly, I think, and shows exactly where their real commitments lie.